Welcome to Reunion Island, an adventurer's paradise and perhaps France's best kept secret. Located in the Indian Ocean, this jungle-filled tropical wonderland is a hiker's dream, with breathtaking scenery changing at every turn. It's a true open-air playground for the outdoor enthusiast, and I spent 6 days trekking through the heart of its 3 cirques, Mafate, Salazie, and Cilaos. So come join me and my Swiss mountaineer friend Petra for not only my first ever adventure in this part of the world, but for my very first multi-day hike. Much like the topography of the Cirques themselves, there were a lot of ups and downs over the course of the 6 days. This was not an easy experience, but as you'll see, La Réunion was worth every step. So where exactly is Reunion Island, and what are the basics? It's an overseas department of France that is located in the Indian Ocean, about 679 kilometers east of Madagascar and 175 kilometers southwest of Mauritius. Since it's part of France, French is spoken here, the euro is the currency, and as a fun fact, it's one of only 2 zones of the European Union that are located in the Southern Hemisphere. Reunion is a relatively well-known adventure destination for Europeans, but from my research, us North Americans don't really yet have it on our radar. But as you'll soon see, it definitely should be. I'll also quickly mention here my other favorite fact about Reunion Island. This was a hiking trip, so we didn't really spend much time at the ocean, but as a scuba diver, I find it very intriguing that the waters surrounding Reunion are some of the most shark-infested on Earth. Coming from Los Angeles, I had a very long commute to get to Reunion, though thankfully, despite the fact that I was traveling from California to a small island in the Indian Ocean, it was only 2 flights, albeit long ones. First, Los Angeles to Charles de Gaulle in Paris, where I met up with my travel buddy Petra, who you may remember from my Egypt videos. Then from Paris, it was down to La Réunion.
Good afternoon from Reunion Island. Finally made it after 2 separate 11-hour flights. We have arrived in the capital, Saint-Denis. We got to our hotel, unpacked, and now we are going to go out and do a little exploration before we head out tomorrow morning to explore the rest of the island.
Saint-Denis is a beautiful city of about 900,000 people. It's a charming town filled with beautiful parks and gorgeous Creole-style mansions. It has such a rich historical heritage and is perfect for exploring on foot.
I am completely exhausted, but this is the only day we have in Saint-Denis, so I am forcing myself to walk around and try and enjoy. I think I may have gotten a second wind. Hopefully I'll have enough in the tank to finish walking around the town today. We made it down to the coast here in Saint-Denis. Behind me are some of the most shark-infested waters on Earth.
The next morning, we were up bright and early for the long commute from coastal Saint-Denis to inland Hell-bourg, the main community in Cirques de Salazie and the starting point for our hiking adventure.
So after 3 buses and some very, very windy roads, we have finally made it up into the Cirques. We just got here to Hell-bourg, and we are just going to walk around, get a feel for it, before we head out on our 5-day through hike tomorrow.
It was our only day in this charming mountain village, so we dropped off our things and immediately headed out to explore the town. I probably should have been resting my legs for the long journey ahead, but this village was so perfectly nestled amongst these moody cliffs, all gently coated in fog. How can you hide inside when this is at your doorstep? I was also fascinated by all the unique plant life here and what seemed like millions of giant spiders. Seriously, these guys were everywhere, and they were huge. I was completely enraptured. Our plan was to spend 5 days hiking through Central Réunion's rugged mystical Cirques, departing from Hell-bourg in Cirque de Salazie, working our way into Cirque de Mafate, and then finishing up in Cirque de Cilaos in the town of Cilaos. Our chosen trails would cover about 59.3 kilometers, or roughly 36.8 miles, which isn't very far distance-wise, but the trails here are not easy, and there are constant elevation changes. Over the course of the hike, we'd have to ascend about 4,050 meters, well over 13,000 feet, and descend about 3,800 meters, nearly 12,500 feet. Flat land was going to be a rare treat.
Okay, we are headed out for day one of hiking. As you can see, I have grossly overpacked. So wish me luck as I attempt to do 5 days of through hiking with half of my apartment on my back. Let's go! We've been walking for about 10 minutes and so far so good. Hoping the rest of today will stay dry, because I'm not entirely sure that my rain cover is gonna cover all this extra junk that I got. I've got so much to learn about backpacking. We've come to our first sightseeing stop on day one of the hike, the old thermal baths. The ruins are quite pretty. So we've hit our first snafu, because that is the bridge we're supposed to cross. Clearly that's not happening. No problem. We bypass the bridge and cross the creek this way. We're dealing with our first hiking in the rain. Now I look even more ridiculous than I did this morning. It has finally stopped raining, so now we can enjoy some of the views. Still some nice clouds down over there. So far, so good for day one. A little bit of a challenge in the beginning, crossing that river, or stream rather. But so far, so good. We've just been walking down a paved path, so it's been pretty easy. I think we're gonna pick up the trail in a little bit.
Next up was our first big river crossing. Followed by a bit of a boring uphill slog.
We've been climbing for quite a while. Hopefully we'll get to the top soon.
Soon enough, we were back in lusher surroundings.
So we're about halfway done with today's hike. We're in a beautiful forest. Gosh, it's so beautiful. It's so pretty here. Look at all the root structures here. It's incredible. You are walking through a forest, and all of a sudden, up on that cliff is a waterfall. It's a little bit tough to see, it's far in the distance, but that is just beautiful.
It was here, though, that I had my first big snafu.
So that rock right there got me. I slipped, I fell in, everything got soaked. So now I have to walk the next 2 hours soaked from the waist down, but that's okay. It's all part of the experience. I am dirty and soaked from, not quite the waist. The knees down though. Completely submerged. There's gonna be a lot of squish in these shoes over the next couple hours.
But being soaked did have some upsides.
The nice thing about being already soaked is that I'm just gonna walk through this next crossing. Oh, let's go right on in. Just walk right on in. Shit happens. We're almost at Ilet, which is where we're sleeping tonight. My feet are still soaking wet from falling in the river. So I'm very excited to be done with day one and get into some dry shoes. It is beautiful here though, can't deny that, but this is my very first through hike and so far it's been challenging. Probably a bit more challenging than I was expecting, but that's okay. Tomorrow, hopefully we'll be a little bit stronger, a little bit more skilled, and tomorrow we'll have a good day and hopefully not fall in the river. All right, we have arrived at Ilet. We are back in something resembling civilization. It's a little hamlet here in the middle of Cirques de Salazie. I think we're still in Cirques de Salazie. Not 100% sure. But yeah, we did it. Day one through hike, Hell-bourg to Ilet. We will be at the hotel in a few minutes. And I can finally get out of these soaking wet shoes. I feel like there are swimming pools on my feet. Day one, almost in the books.
We arrived at our small guest house for the evening, and let me tell you, being dry has never felt so nice.
Okay, we are starting day two. We are leaving Ilet and we are heading tonight toward Aurère. It's about 8 a.m. Yesterday it took us 8 hours to do the distance. I'm hoping at least today we can do it in 7. Wish me luck. We've been walking almost 2 hours this morning. We've just been going up a road, so the walking hasn't been that hard, but it's just been pure altitude gain. The sun is finally behind some clouds, which provides some very nice relief from the heat.
During this part of the walk, we officially crossed into the next Cirque, Mafate. Eventually, we left the paved road behind and stepped into what felt like Middle Earth.
So we are about to cross over that way. You can see Petra is already walking. She's very tiny already, so I should probably start moving to catch up. All right, let's go. They've got a rope to help with the climb. We just started walking up the ridge. So far, so good, but it is a very steep drop off. Definitely don't want to fall down this. Oh my goodness, I gotta get moving. I've already lost her.
There were a few other hikers on the trail with us, including this French group who were hiking with multiple full baguettes, which made me giggle.
So we're about to go over that ridge over there. This reminds me so much of Angel's Landing in Zion in Utah. I'm very excited to do this part. I think it's gonna be lots of fun. Cirques de Mafate so far. Very impressive. Oh wow, look at that. Look at those clouds rolling in, that's just beautiful. All right, let's go up and over that ridge. Look at that, we got a drop off, and we have the path, and then right another drop off. We've got a couple miles left for today, hiking to Aurère in the Cirques Mafate. much, much prettier than yesterday. The views today are just unbelievable. My feet are still wet from yesterday, the boots from when I fell in the river. And I was worried that that was gonna make today very unpleasant, but it actually hasn't been so bad. So very happy about that. I think we've got another couple miles left before we get to the town of Aurère, and then we can relax for the evening and get ready for tomorrow.
The rest of the day's hike was in a more forested area. We even found this lovely little altar in the woods. I really loved all the variety of day 2. Every couple of hours, the scenery changed drastically, which was a nice distraction from my aching feet and legs. Reunion was beautiful, but this hike was kicking my butt. We crossed over a very deep gorge before finally arriving at our home for the evening, Aurère.
Good morning from Aurère. I'm talking a bit quietly because it's still early and people are sleeping. Today is the start of day 3. We just woke up at our gate and we are waiting for breakfast to start before we head out for the day. Yesterday was very difficult. My feet did not take kindly to walking in wet shoes and socks all day. That certainly did not help. But today is a new day, fresh start. It's a beautiful morning, and hopefully it will continue to be a beautiful day. All right, let's go.
You may have heard the whir of a helicopter in the background there. Aurère, as is common with many of these small villages in the Cirques, is so rural that there are no roads. Supplies can either be hiked in through the forest on foot or dropped off via helicopter. We headed out from Aurère after breakfast towards Roche, but this hiking morning ended up not going at all according to plan.
Well, day 3, we were supposed to go from Aurère to Roche. It's about 2 in the afternoon. The sign for Roche says 4 hours and 5 minutes. For me, that means probably about 7.5 hours because I walk like a glacier. So we are gonna change our plans for the entire second part of this trip. And Petra's been so lovely about it, but I just feel absolutely terrible. I just can't keep up. I don't know how everybody else seems to do it, but I must be the slowest walker on the face of the earth. I love hiking. I love being outside. I love being in nature. It's beautiful here, but it's just seems to be so much harder for me than everybody else. So anybody else out there, if you are a slow walker as well, I feel your pain. So we're here right now in this place called Grand Place, and we're gonna try and find some place to sleep for the night. And then we're gonna pick up our plan tomorrow. We were supposed to do 5 days of through hiking. It's now gonna be 6, and we're canceling our volcano hike, which is what I really wanted to do, but it's just not gonna happen. It was just so hot today, and falling into the river had a bit of a domino effect. You know, my boots got soaked. I had to wear wet boots yesterday, and then I got a bunch of blisters, and now walking is harder. And today there was just such intense heat, and I'm just moving way too slow. My goodness, if Petra was walking by herself, she would have been past Rocheblatt already. But I'm trying to keep a good attitude about it. You know, she's been absolutely lovely, and I feel just terrible. But it is what it is, you know, I'm doing the best that I can. I'm going as fast as I can. But you know, sometimes things just don't work out, and sometimes an important part of travel is you know, learning your limits, learning your limitations, learning what you can and can't do, and accepting that. And that's what has happened today. But I'm crying like a baby. But we'll pick up tomorrow. We'll be able to go a little slower, get some recovery today, some recovery tomorrow, since tomorrow is now going to be a shorter day. And today was a shorter day as well. And then we'll see how it goes. I'm super bummed about not going to the volcano, but I think it's the right move at this point. Okay, so that's that update. Petra's just off looking for another potential option for someplace for us to stay. And yeah, so looks like Grand Place is going to be our unexpected home for the evening. So I will just continue to sit here until she comes back to see if the gate a little bit up the hill is worth staying in. And then we'll make our decision. Sometimes life does not go as one planned, but that's okay.
We did find a nearby place to stay where I was able to rest my battered feet. A little rest and shower brought my spirits right back up.
It just finished raining at the gate that we decided to stay at because I walked too slow and we can't make it to our final destination. But perhaps it's a happy accident because it is beautiful here.
Grand Place was an unexpected but gorgeous place to spend the night. With a rejuvenated spirit, we headed out to finish the walk toward Rocheplat.
So we have just started day 4. We are going from Grand Place to Rocheplat, where we were supposed to end up last night before we realized that we were not going to make it because I move at a glacial pace. Okay, wish us luck.
Honestly, how could anyone stay sad in a place like this? We made a short stop mid-morning to investigate some intriguing fruit trees.
Oh yeah, I missed it. We're trying to knock down fruit off the trees,
We're not really good at that.
we think are mangoes.
We are not sure, but we want to try.
But there's only one way to find out.
Survival instinct. Let's see.
Exactement, c'est ça.
Let's do it the other way around.
Then continuing on through the jungle and into the river. Taking off shoes and just walking across felt much safer to me than crossing on dry stones after that gnarly slip and fall on day 1.
She made it!
Survived the river crossing without falling in this time.
Then back into the jungle before emerging to climb the cliffs for the final push into Rocheplat. Like Aurère, Rocheplat was incredibly rural.
The places we've stayed the last couple nights, there are no roads. So the only way in or out is by foot. And they get a lot of their provision, well, pretty much all of their provisions. The things that they can't provide for themselves, they have their provisions brought in by helicopter. It's so incredibly rural. I remember reading in the guidebook, they describe these little village hamlets as places that time forgot. And that definitely seems to be true. I mean, can you imagine living in a village where there were no roads? I know people do it. I know there are still places like that all over the world. It's just so amazing to actually be in one, to see different ways that people still live. This is the school behind me, and the gate is just behind. But yeah, these places are so interesting to me. I know it took us 7 hours to walk here, but for some people this is home. So tomorrow we will be walking to Marla, and then after that to Cilaos. So we've got 2 days left. I know the next 2 days are going to be really tough, so I'm trying to mentally prepare myself as best I can. Petra has already gently told me that we probably don't have time for pictures and videos tomorrow. At least I don't. So I don't think I'm going to get a lot of video over the next couple days. But hopefully she'll get some nice footage because she's always standing around waiting for me to catch up, so she's got the extra time that I don't. But yeah, so we've got 4 days down, 2 to go. I'm still in one piece. I haven't gotten injured. I haven't gotten heat stroke. So far, so good. So for now, just trying to enjoy the atmosphere, enjoy dinner, and get ready for the next couple days. I know they're going to be tough, But I've come this far. I'm gonna finish this. We're about 2 hours into day 5. So far, so good. Hopefully, things will continue. Okay. Oh, it's gonna be hot again today, though. It's already hot.
At the river, I met an unexpected friend.
I found a tiny orange cat in the middle of the wilderness. Hello, friend. Where'd you come from?
No matter where I am, I always seem to find the cats.
Where did you come from?
I think day 5 might have had some of my favorite scenery of the hike, and honestly, some of the most enthralling natural beauty I've ever had the privilege to witness in person. I wish I'd had a better camera with me. I wisely decided to leave my main camera at home due to its size, and my small camera went swimming in the river on day 1. These shots from the phone just don't do this place justice.
Landscape is incredibly volcanic. It's very cool.
All the drama, the intense heat and humidity, and all the physical challenges I'd faced thus far just faded away in this landscape. Every difficult moment was well worth it to spend time here, in the heart of La Réunion. Mid-afternoon, we came across some more new friends.
We have visitors. Hello. I guess it's lunchtime.
And if you're a Lord of the Rings fan,
This feels like walking to Mordor. It's so cool. Now I know how Sam and Frodo felt carrying the ring up to Mount Doom.
but before I knew it,
We have arrived at Marla, and we're actually a little early, which is a minor miracle. All right, so we made it to Marla. Not only did we make it, we're actually a little early. We just have to wait a few more minutes for the gate to open up to see if they still have a place for us, since we were actually supposed to be here last night, but then we had to change our plans because I'm too slow. Yeah, today was really pretty. I didn't take as much video as I knew I wasn't going to be able to take a lot just because we needed to make sure we got, oh my gosh, I can't talk. We needed to make sure that we got here on time, which we did. But it was really beautiful, really like eerie volcanic landscapes, gave off some serious Mordor vibes. But yeah, there were like rivers running through the volcanic landscapes, and it felt like we were climbing up the side of a volcano, and then it just turned into a forest. The scenery here is just absolutely wild. It's so diverse and so varied, and it changes constantly on these hikes. You feel like you go through like 10 different ecosystems a day. It's amazing. So our original gîte could not take us today since we are in Marla a day late. So we just wandered around until we found another home for the night. It's actually quite nice, so no big deal. So Marla's another one of these little hamlets that's only accessible via walking or helicopter. And here's where we're staying for the night. And that's our room with the pants and t-shirt hanging out of it. I'm just trying to dry some things. A lot of hand washing is required on a trip like this, so every day we hike, my bag is usually covered in drying laundry. But here's the room. It's just a basic dorm room. I think we might be the only ones tonight, so that'll be nice. You can see the clouds coming in. It's beautiful up over the mountain. So yeah, this is home for the night. And it's actually getting cool already, and it's only about 5:30. So tonight it's gonna be nice and cold. It's gonna be such a nice change of pace after being boiling hot for so many days in a row.
treated myself to a last night on the trail drink and then good night from Marla.
Okay, final day. We're about to leave Marla. Yes, that is what my backpack looks like. All right, let's do this.
The first couple of hours were very hot and straight uphill.
It was about 600 meters elevation gain, so roughly 1,800 feet. I'm glad Petra didn't tell me that this is what we needed to do when we first left, because I probably would have cried. But it's finished, and here we are. And that's where we were this morning. C'est incroyable.
We took a little break at the top for some photos, and I couldn't believe it, but just on the other side of the top of the cliff was our end point.
We can already see our final destination. That's Cilaos down there, end of the line. It's still probably another 4 hours walk, but there it is, we can see it. Presque là, presque fini. Almost there, almost finished.
The downward hike through the forest was intense and slippery, so I mainly focused on hiking, not filming through here. But at the bottom...
It's a road. It's the first road I've seen in days. So we have emerged from the forest. We've decided to do the rest of the walk to Cilaos on the road because my feet are in so much pain today. And I don't know why. They haven't hurt this much the past few days. They haven't hurt this much since day 2. But it is what it is. And walking on the road is going to be a bit easier on my feet because they've been swollen and in pain for the past couple hours already. But the views here are still lovely. Check out this epic waterfall coming up. Isn't that just magnificent? It goes all the way down behind these trees.
Even though we were now walking on a paved road, we were still surrounded by epic scenery. And so many waterfalls, they were everywhere. And finally,
after 6 days, we're here. We're in Cilaos. Woo! Ah! Nous sommes arrivés. We are here. Oh, look, a street, cars. Ah, a town. Oh, let's go take a shower. Woo! I'm real tired.
ripped those boots off, had a lovely, proper dinner, and then it was good night from Cilaos. Mission accomplished. Good morning from Cilaos. We are staying in this lovely little family-run small hotel. And this is the view we have from the balcony. Isn't that just beautiful? So today Petra and I are doing different things. She is going to be climbing the Piton de Neige, which is the highest peak in La Réunion. I'm going to skip that because one, my body is shot, and two, I physically could not do it in a day. There's no way I would be able to get up and back in a single day, and I know from the past 6 days that I can't keep up with her anyway. So I'm gonna have a bit of a more relaxing day, wander around the town, maybe do some shopping. There's a thermal spa I might try to get into, but it's Sunday, so I'm not sure if it's open. It's also Easter, so I'm not expecting to be able to do that, but if it's open and they have availability, then great. So La Réunion has these giant spiders on these giant communal webs, and I am completely obsessed with them, and there are 2 huge ones right outside the front of the hotel. Check this out. Good morning, my large arachnid friend. It's a bit hard to see in the video, but the web is just magnificent. Maybe if I go really slowly, I can catch it. There, you can see some of it. So there's a few on this one. There's this big one up front, and then there's this smaller one in the back. And then there's another one right up there. And then We've got this big guy in the back. A little hard to see with the light right now. But aren't they just gorgeous? They're so big and they're everywhere. And they seem to share webs, which is kind of interesting. I've seen webs with like 30 on them. Just huge, massive communities of spiders. So Petra is currently busy climbing a mountain. So I decided to go instead to the spa, Les Thermes de Cilaos. The waters are heated by volcanic chambers under the ground that are said to have special healing properties. Thankfully, the spa was open despite it being a holiday, and it was delightful. Exactly what I needed after 6 days of beating up my body. If you visit Reunion and make it to Cilaos, it's well worth booking some treatments here. They have tons of options, and the prices are very reasonable. I'll leave their link in the video description below.
I would say I got about, like almost 80 minutes of treatment for only 45 euros. It was pretty good. There was a foot massage, there was a water bed, there were some special showers, there was a nice tub in some kind of special volcanic water that turned my wash brown. But it was really nice. It was really rejuvenating and really well priced. So I was very happy with my decision. I couldn't have climbed the mountain today with her, even if I wanted to. I know I'm not capable of getting up there and back in a day, especially with my body already being shot from 6 days of hiking. So I was very happy with my decision to go to the spa. So now I'm going to head into town and see what the town of Cilaos looks like, because we walked through it a little bit yesterday. On our way to our hotel is actually a little bit outside of town, so I haven't actually been to the center of the town yet. So that's where we're headed right now. I spent the next couple of hours wandering through the town center and visiting the market before the weather started to shift and I headed back to the hotel. The weather turned today, and you can barely even see that we're surrounded by cliffs now. They're all hidden. Completely gone on that side. Look at that. They're gone. It was a very quiet and relaxing day, the perfect recovery. The next day was mostly commuting, heading from inland Cilaos down to the southern coastal town of Saint-Pierre on the bus. After 6 days of hiking and a day of rest, it was time to say farewell to Reunion's stunning central Cirques. Salazie, Mafate, and Cilaos, à bientôt. See you soon. The bus ride out was very windy, following the contours of the cliffs, and offered us beautiful final views of this amazing little region of the world. Upon arriving in Saint-Pierre, I celebrated with a margarita the size of my face. And just like that, I woke up to my last morning in Reunion. All right, Petra and I have gone our separate ways. She's doing the south coast. I'm gonna go up to the west because it's a little bit easier for me to get to the airport that way. So I used to saying we. I am now leaving Saint-Pierre and heading to Saint-Gilles-Les-Bains, almost at the bus station, and then the flight home, or rather the flight back to Paris, is at 9 p.m. tonight. So we've got a few hours on my own today to explore. I do have the bag though with me, so I don't know how much exploring I'll be able to do, but we'll see what we see. All right, we made it to Saint-Gilles-Les-Bains, which is supposed to be a cute little beach town. So I've got about 3 hours here to walk around, Gonna go find some lunch, wander around the beach. Not sure what the weather is gonna do, so I don't know how much sitting by the beach will get in, but we'll see.
It was nice to see the ocean again after all that time in the jungle.
You can see how clean and clear the water is here. Réunion's not really known for its beaches. It's more of an adventure destination, but the water's nice. The beach itself is okay. Lots of sharks though. These are some of the most shark-infested waters on Earth, so they've got to have shark signs and warnings for people.
And of course,
Found the beach cats. Oh, bye-bye. Hello. Hello, tiny beach cat.
had a nice lunch at a beachside restaurant before finding refuge from the intense sun, spending a couple of hours inside the blissfully air-conditioned aquarium, and then it was back on the bus and up the coast to return to the Roland-Garros airport in Saint-Denis for departure.
Okay, we successfully made it back to the airport. A little bit of an adventure, a little bit of drama on the bus. The driver was screaming at me to put my bag under the bus and I didn't understand what he was saying. But other than that, all good. So we are about to get on flight 1 of 3 to get back to, not quite home, doing a quick stopover in Texas to go to a gymnastics meet, which is why I've been hiking in a bunch of gymnastics shirts. So we've got 3 flights from here to Orly, then Charles de Gaulle to Atlanta, Atlanta to Dallas. Next stop, Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas. Okay, wish me luck. Au revoir la Réunion.
And finally, the summary and day-by-day breakdown of the hike, the mileage per day, and all the elevation changes we did. Hike day 1 was from Hell-bourg to Grand Ilet. We walked 12.8 kilometers with an elevation gain of 700 meters and a loss of 500 meters. Hike day 2 was from Grand Ilet to Aurère. We walked 12.7 kilometers with an elevation gain of 550 meters and a loss of 800 meters. Hike day 3 was from Aurère to Grand Place. We walked 6.7 kilometers with an elevation gain of 450 meters and a loss of 590 meters. Hike day 4 was from Grand Place to Roche. We walked 7.4 kilometers with an elevation gain of 920 meters and a loss of 570. Hike day 5 was from Roche to Marla. We walked 8.4 kilometers with an elevation gain of 800 meters and a loss of 340. Hike day 6 was from Marla to Cilaos. We walked 11.3 kilometers with an elevation gain of 630 meters and a loss of 1,000 meters. In total, we walked 59.3 kilometers or 36.8 miles. We had a total gain of 4,050 meters or 13,290 feet and a total loss of 3,800 meters or 12,470 feet. No wonder my legs and feet were tired. Thanks for joining me for my 5, that became 6, days of hiking through Reunion Island's mesmerizing jungle interior. I've done plenty of day hiking before, but this first multi-day journey pushed me to my mental and physical limits. Hiking on tired legs with wet, blistered feet, carrying a 35-pound pack under scorching sun and brutal heat through humid air, sometimes so thick you'd swear you could slice it with a knife. My first multi-day hiking experience brought way more challenges than I was expecting, but I learned so much from my mistakes, successes, failures, and victories out on the trail. In the end, I would do it all over again, perhaps with a slightly lighter backpack. I'd also try to not fall in the river and soak my boots next time. Reunion feels like something out of a fantasy novel. Mythical landscapes with awe-inspiring scenery that will leave you breathless, surprised, and speechless, often multiple times a day. I still can't believe this is a real place, and one that I'd never even heard of before Petra suggested it as a destination. makes me wonder what other incredible spots exist out there whose names I yet still don't know. If you enjoyed today's video, please give it a like, as it really helps, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any future adventures. I've got a travel blog website now too. You can find that link along with a few other helpful ones in the video description below. If you like hiking and all things outdoors, I've got some fun videos from adventures past, and you can check out a couple of those above. Until then, see you next time.